A series of notification panels appeared. You have completed the Middle Manager quest. As a reward, you receive 1,500 experience points and 1,500 tower coins. You have completed the Middle Manager's mission. The most important notification finally popped up in front of Sejun, giving him 30 seconds to return to the 99th floor. He had already packed everything neatly, with 2 large bags tied and ready, just waiting for the moment. After reading the notifications, he quickly turned to inform the little ones eagerly waiting. The quest is finally over. We'll be heading back the same way we got here. Quang, time to go home. Hold that stone up. The little bear didn't even need to transform into its larger form. Tiny as it was, it lifted both the large stone and the protective barrier above its head effortlessly, cheerfully responding, "I got it!" Next came instructions for the sales manager cat. Theo, register all of them as wandering merchants and head to the 99th floor together. Theo assured Sejun not to worry, saying, "I'll take everyone to sell goods on the lower floors too, Nya. Everyone, follow me, Nya." Behind Theo, 33 cats raised their paws high in unison, determined to start their grand journey from this day forward. Once Sejun finished giving orders, Elka spoke up. "We'll make a stop on the 67th floor with Iona to take more red locusts before heading back to the 99th floor." Sejun agreed immediately, bidding farewell to both Elka and Iona. "Black Rabbit, let's go. Just a few seconds left." Sejun called out to the Black Rabbit while holding 2 large bags. He was still busy packing pineapples into bundles to carry home. "Wait, Uncle, there's one more pineapple here." Black Rabbit's joyful exclamation was interrupted by a rustling noise in the nearby grass. When it turned around, a fluffy white creature approached, speaking sweetly. "Excuse me, I'm here to meet Lord Iona." It was clearly a pure white rabbit, snowy from head to toe, dressed in a mage's outfit. One hand held a thick book, while the other adjusted a pair of glasses. Behind her head was a large red ribbon, matching the color of her crimson eyes, which gleamed even brighter as they fixed on Black Rabbit. The moment she saw Black Rabbit, her words halted abruptly, replaced by a faint pew. Beneath her snowy fur, a blush was visible on her cheeks. Although Black Rabbit's fur was black, the fiery red blush on his face stood out. Brave as it usually was, the sight of a ribbon-wearing rabbit left him completely stunned. Without knowing when, the two had inched closer until only an arm's length separated them. They gazed at each other, hearts pounding, as if surrounded by a magical field of blooming flower. It was so sweet and serene, one might wish to freeze this moment in time. Yet, many others were around, and what seemed like an eternity for the pair was just a fleeting second for onlookers. "Pew, there you are!" Iona's voice called out, snapping the pair back to reality. At that exact moment, the system chimed with a ding, signaling the countdown's end. Everyone would now be teleported back to the 99th floor. Sejun was the first to disappear, leaving behind a blue streak and a mechanical hum. The gust of wind generated from his departure ruffled Theo's cloak before dying down with the light. Next, a still-dazed Black Rabbit was swept away, leaving its unfinished pineapple bundle behind. Along with it was a confused White Rabbit, left standing alone. Looking around, the White Rabbit seemed lost. Prompting Elka to explain, they've safely returned to the 99th floor. "Payu, teleportation magic?" she asked as Iona gently landed nearby, rushing toward her. "Iona, who is this rabbit, Nia?" Theo inquired, taking the chance to ask. Iona proudly introduced, "This is my disciple. I called her here because we have some matters to discuss. I intended to introduce her to Sejun and Black Rabbit, but our timing was off." This revelation surprised Theo, who had no idea Iona even had a disciple. Not only that, but this disciple was particularly polite, bowing to Theo immediately upon introduction. The cat was caught off guard by the rabbit's formal demeanor, while the archmage simply smiled knowingly. "Nice to meet you. I've heard much about you. I am Pew, the last princess of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. Beautiful, intelligent, and graceful. No wonder our Black Rabbit fell head over heels the moment he laid eyes on her." The teleportation magic transported Sejun and his companions back to the 99th floor in perfect condition. Even the stone Kwang carried remained unchanged. However, as soon as it landed, it caused a loud thud, leaving a long crack on the ground. Iona's protective magic surrounding the rock was exceptionally strong. Even in her absence, it remained intact. Sejun, still not accustomed to teleportation, took a few deep breaths before scanning the familiar landscape stretching to the horizon. "We're home," he exclaimed, a mix of surprise and joy in his voice. "We've returned to the 99th floor." Usually, he'd jump at any chance to leave this place, but now, having left and returned, he found himself deeply nostalgic for it. While Sejun was bursting with joy, an object flew straight into his chest at lightning speed, shouting, "Uncle!" But his face turned pale, and he couldn't even respond. Standing on his chest, Black Rabbit grabbed his shirt and shook him like a debt collector. "Uncle! Uncle! Who was that rabbit back there?" Never before had the little one been so frantic. Sejun told him to calm down, saying he had no idea. "We only saw each other for a few seconds." Pineapples scattered everywhere, but Black Rabbit couldn't care less. He was deep in thought. Seeing him like that, Sejun earnestly explained, "It seemed like she knows Iona. Maybe we can ask when they come to the 99th floor later." But judging by Black Rabbit's face, waiting didn't seem like an option. The little one was thinking hard, recalling that during the teleportation, he had definitely heard her introduce herself as Payupyu. Watching him, a realization dawned on Sejun. Black Rabbit, could it be? His face lit up with a mix of joy and slight embarrassment. The kid was finally at the age where sparks of love began to ignite. Before he could tease him, a voice called out nearby, "Sejun!" It was a whole family of rabbits, parents, children, and gray rabbits, bringing soup, grilled fish, and roasted corn to welcome him back. Above them hovered the queen bees, accompanied by representatives of the Minotaurs and Kuang. Kuang's mother rushed forward to embrace her beloved child. "Welcome home! You did so well!" They all shouted in unison, gathering around Sejun. Even the Minotaurs joined in, saying, "We missed you, Moo. We've prepared so much food for a party, Moo." Bees perched on Sejun's shoulders, chirping with excitement, while golden-furred youngsters leaped onto his lap, filling him with joy and surprise. "How did you all know I'd be back?" he asked. Father Rabbit explained, "Eileen told us." Right there was her words. "While I can't see other floors, I can make rough predictions based on the quest progress." "Oh, I see." Sejun nodded, his face lighting up with a smile. The dragon girl suddenly spoke up. "Welcome back, Sejun. You've done a great job with your first middle manager quest. It seems you're not injured anywhere." She paused, eyeing him carefully. "Wait, have you lost some weight? Was the quest difficult?" Her barrage of questions left Sejun momentarily stunned. Laughing, he grabbed a bowl of soup and replied, "Luckily, the mission wasn't too hard, but 3 days felt much longer than I expected. All we had to eat were pineapples. I thought I was going to die." She asked curiously, "Pineapples? What's that?" "I found it on the 75th floor. You need to peel them off the husk, though, so I'll let you try once I've prepared them," Sejun replied, handing the soup bowl to Rabbit Father, who said he'd take the rest to the storage room. Meanwhile, the little ones crawled all over Sejun, while the older ones began the party on the spot. The tower manager expressed eager anticipation to see the pineapple, reminding Sejun of how much he missed chatting with Eileen like this. "This is so nice," he said suddenly. "I've missed you, Eileen." "Really?" she asked. "Yes, I was so bored not being able to see your status window." Unpacking his belongings for the little ones, he stared at the notification board and asked, "Eileen, did you miss me? Aren't you bored with Kaiser around? I'd be a bit disappointed if you didn't miss me." "Ha ha ha," he chuckled awkwardly, but Eileen seemed just as flustered. When he asked if she remembered him, she went completely silent. Thinking it was a connection issue, Sejun called out, "Eileen, are you listening?" Meanwhile, Eileen clutched her crystal orb, murmuring, "There's no way I didn't." But when she tried to send her message, only 2 words came through. "Me too." Sejun frowned, puzzled. "I missed you a lot." Eileen hugged the orb tightly, shouting as if Sejun could hear her. Her face burned bright red, emotions overflowing, when suddenly her father's booming voice roared from the rooftop. "Park Sejun, you're back." "Huh?" The voice startled Sejun so much he nearly jumped out of his skin. Eileen screamed loudly, accidentally crushing the crystal orb in her hands. "Oh no, no, no!" she cried as wisps of smoke escaped from the shattered orb, carrying the images of her father and her crush away. Speechless, she stared at the broken pieces on the ground. "I was so surprised I used too much strength." "Oh no." From that point on, she could no longer send messages to Sejun. But he, having been startled by the dragon, didn't even notice the absence of the tower manager's notifications. "Whoa, you startled me, Kaiser," Sejun muttered. Kaiser snapped, "You ungrateful brat. You didn't even greet your elders upon returning. Hurry up and raise a toast. That's how we start the party, isn't it? I even made tomato juice for you myself." Kaiser's imposing demeanor didn't quite match his words about making tomato juice, leaving Sejun skeptical. "What? You did?" he asked. The baby rabbits scurried over to see, only to find Kaiser holding out a wooden bucket filled with a concoction of tomatoes, leaves, flowers, stems, and possibly even roots. Every part of the tomato plant seemed to be floating in there. The little rabbits pulled faces as they stared at the bucket's contents, while Sejun's expression darkened, his facial muscles twitching as he spotted green, unripe cherry tomatoes floating inside. What kind of tomato juice is this? How much of crops have you stolen while I was gone? He hit the nail on the head. Kaiser roared back. Steal? How dare you accuse the great black dragon? Sejun sighed, exasperated. Please, just wipe the tomato juice off your mouth already. Kaiser stubbornly denied it. I didn't steal. I only ate a little while helping them harvest the tomatoes. That's still stealing, isn't it? Sejun snapped, but before he could continue, the rabbit family, who had spent their entire day tending the fields, interjected in outrage. Uncle, Lord Kaiser tore up the entire field. He even uprooted the tomato plants completely. Sejun turned to Kaiser, squinting suspiciously. Well, anything else to say for yourself? Honestly, if the rabbits hadn't snitched, it would have been hard to believe the great black dragon could do such a thing. Cornered and unable to talk his way out, Kaiser finally slammed his hand down in defeat. Fine, I ate them. So what? Do you think that's a problem for the great black dragon, Kaiser Fratani? Don't forget your place, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. He jabbed a clawed finger at Sejun, barking accusations at him instead. Right at that moment, Eileen's message popped up, questioning, Grandfather, did you steal and eat Sejun's crops? Caught red-handed while scolding the field owner? Talk about bad timing. Eileen, holding another crystal orb in the storage room, explained she'd had to find a new one after the previous orb shattered. She hadn't seen the earlier events but had guessed and nailed it. Kaiser was flustered, scrambling to defend himself. Ha ha! Of course not. I didn't steal them. I only ate them. What does that even mean? Eileen raised her voice, pressing him further. You only ate them? Even I couldn't even eat those precious crops as I pleased. Do you know how hard it is to grow those crops? Cornered once again, Kaiser faltered, pleading. Now, let me explain. But Eileen cut him off sharply. Grandfather, I hate you. How could you eat such precious crops? I don't want to talk to you anymore. Her voice, transmitted through the orb, struck Kaiser like a hammer. Frozen before the tiny notification window, Kaiser was overwhelmed, calling out desperately, Eileen, what do you mean you won't talk to me? Eileen, but she ignored him completely, leaving the board empty of responses. Unable to coax her, Kaiser turned to Sejun with a shout. Park Sejun, say something to Eileen. I might, if you grant me a favor, Sejun replied slyly, seizing the perfect opportunity. Kaiser wanted to refuse but hesitated, knowing his granddaughter was watching. Swallowing his pride, he begrudgingly agreed. Fine, I'll do it. Just say what you want already. It's simple, Sejun said, smiling. Why don't we all have something to eat? The rabbits and minotaurs have already started the feast. Instead of standing here arguing, let's join them, enjoy the delicious produce, and have a good time. Of course, today's star dish was the pineapple. Though it was served last, the golden hue and tantalizing aroma as Sejun sliced it made everyone's mouths water. The rabbit family eagerly watched as Sejun divided the fruit. Eileen received half the pineapple as her portion, while the other half went to Kaiser. Despite its size, the pineapple was barely bigger than half a dragon's claw. Kaiser gingerly picked it up, his motions oddly delicate. The rest was shared among the little ones, with one pineapple enough to feed the rabbit family, Quang, and Sejun himself. The cool, sweet, and crisp pineapple slices were the perfect refreshment and dessert. Sejun gazed out over the fields. In just 3 days while I was gone, the 99th floor has changed so much. The crops are the same, but the landscape. His voice trailed off as he admired the improvements made by the gray rabbits, who had rebuilt the fountain and dug a canal flowing through the fields, restoring moisture to once dry soil. Meanwhile, Kaiser had synchronized Eileen's new orb with the tower's statue frequency, allowing him to communicate directly through the status window. From then on, he'd been grinning and doting on his beloved granddaughter. You're not mad at me anymore, are you? The messages confirmed she wasn't, but she did demand that Kaiser ask Sejun for permission before eating any crops in the future. Kaiser agreed instantly. Anything his precious granddaughter asked, he would do without question. Seeing him in such a good mood, Sejun approached and asked, So, did you make up with Eileen? Still embarrassed about scolding Sejun earlier, Kaiser cleared his throat and muttered, Thanks to you. Ahem, so what's the request? Kaiser asked, his eyes sparkling with curiosity and readiness to assist. Can you appraise an item? I discovered something on the 75th floor. An item, you say? Without even knowing what it was, Kaiser's expression turned serious. Sejun led him to the edge of the fields, near the forest's border, where a stone wrapped in a protective barrier was placed. I found this item inside the belly of the Frog Queen in Zenka Lake on the 75th floor and brought it back here. A stone found in the belly of a Frog Queen? Kaiser was intrigued. And who created this barrier around it? Sejun was equally surprised. He had thought that the number of creatures in the tower capable of magic was extremely small, so Kaiser should have known. It was Iona, the magic tower master. She said it was dangerous because divine power is flowing out of it. That was all Kaiser needed to hear to understand. Using a claw, he picked up the stone along with its protective barrier for closer inspection. This is high-level magic, something even the tower's creatures would struggle to handle. Impressive. Step back. Sejun obediently moved away, allowing Kaiser to focus on his task. The dragon seemed to merely hold the shield surrounding the stone, but suddenly, a blinding light erupted, like watching a needle slowly pierce a water-filled balloon in slow motion. Moments later, Kaiser set the stone down. The barrier was gone, but divine power continued to flow gently around the stone, illuminating runes etched on its surface. At this point, the system recognized the item. Fragment of the Sacred Monument. Ninth fragment of the Sacred Monument. Divine power emanates from it, benefiting the surrounding environment. The more fragments collected, the stronger the divine power becomes. Grade S. Sejun read the description, but found it utterly baffling. Divine power that benefits the environment? An S-grade item without any special abilities? The vague wording only left him with more questions. What kind of item is this? Even the information doesn't explain much. Kaiser, unfazed, reminded him, "You must not compare this to ordinary items found in the tower. This is a sacred item." A sacred item? Sejun still didn't understand. Like some sort of spiritual altar? Kaiser stared intently at the stone, his tone grave. This is an artifact of the great creator god,